Welcome to the Roth Show.
Roth Report here on the Roth Show, and I'm caused to remember when I hear outside, I saw a hummingbird the other day. That's the best bird. Everybody talks, you have a favorite bird. It's a blackbird, might be a condor. Some people say fly like an eagle. No, the best bird's a hummingbird because you can hover and check things out. My bicycle has a dog nose seat. That's what I call it. Looks like a dog's nose, one of those old styles, like, I don't know, 50s, 60s, something like that. And it's got cruiser handlebars, 17 gears, super modern inside, like myself, but old school, so I can sit up straight and tall and see everything that's around me. And I learned how to do that coming back from Indiana when we moved to Newcastle. I think I was about, I don't remember, 3 years old, 4 or 5, something like that. And today, we were riding around on my bicycle, and I started to think, you know what? Going back to Newcastle, because that's really old school Hoosier, all right? It's rural, railroad tracks. My grandparents came there in 1913, kind of a thing. Go look at the movie Hoosiers, and there's a scene in the beginning where they show the fields, and it's real dark and gray, and that's where I grew up. And so that's where I got my first values, and I thought, I can't remember what my bedroom looked like there. I could not tell you the stairway to it or anything inside of it. But I can tell you every single blade of grass. I can tell you the names of the goats, the billy goats. I can tell you the names of all the milk cows. And yeah, Frank, the foreman, used to call them girls. All right, girls. All right, ladies. And technically, he's accurate, all right? And he treated them like ladies, and that's how I learned to deal with animals directly. I'm a dog man, as you know, but any kind of creature that moves around, that's what I learned. I could draw you a picture of the lake. I can draw you a picture of the pond, all the muskrats and all where the badgers and everything were, where the dikes and everything running through the fields and the irrigation ditches and so forth. And I remember when we first moved into that tiny little farmhouse so my dad could continue in school. He's an intern or something like that, going through IU and traveling forth for medical school and the college and everything like that. And I got in the car with my mom, an old station wagon, and that was the first time, well, the song was kind of popular around that time, was Frank Sinatra. It was not New York, New York, but it was... I've been a poet, a puppet, a pirate, a pauper. Come on, what's the name of this song? That's Life. And it was a real popular song. It was an old blue station wagon. And we drove into town. The first thing we did was go to the post office and measure in, my mom called it, where you go and you sign in and you tell the folks directly, we're way out on the road here, turn left, that we're new. And we're the new mailbox, we're the white one like that. And introduce ourselves and say, you know, if we run into each other or whatever, you're ever out there and you need to use the phone, come on, knock on our door and you're welcome to it. Because the mailmen would always drive down, so you get a flat tire on the dirt road. And then we drove right down the block to the police station and did the same thing, identified ourselves. She said, now, you introduce yourself. I had to be like 7 years old. And we met the bosses there, the police were there, they had a strap that goes like this, and said, hey, we're new out there, just so you know, that's who we are. We're the Roth family, and if any of the officers need to stop in their car and use the phone, just knock on the door. In terms of everybody working for the weekend, I was the weekend. I am the weekend. Every night is Saturday night. Every day is New Year's Eve. Or maybe I got that wrong. But if you did New Year's Eve right, it ended the next day. I know places in New York where the New Year's Eve celebration, and this happens in a lot of places, especially with electronic dance music, EDM can go forever. The band isn't going to wear out. That had a lot to do with it, okay? There's places in New York City where New Year's Eve ends 2 days later. And you go home for a disco nap, okay? I was used to this shit. There was a point when I moved to 2nd and 17th. I've gone through like 4 childhoods there, but I don't mean like childhoods like frat house bro party. Like I always wanted to go to school, so I'd sign up for some kind of a lessons or do the EMT thing, or I'd learn to fly, or in between the tours, you'd be very constructive because I know that's gonna reinform the way I sound, my choices in everything from shoes to lyrics, on and on. You don't just go, okay, I'll be different. You're right, Bobby. That's my inner child. You go, no. Anybody who says, I'm gonna be different, no. You change your context. You cross-train. Take yourself somewhere. Now, I'm an extremist, and I've been doing this for decades, so I just moved to Japan with impunity, okay? Didn't know anybody there, didn't know a single word of Japanese except goodbye. And, okay, but I'm comfortable in terms of changing my context. I've been living out of a sleeping bag and a backpack literally for 4 decades, 5. I got thrown out of my house the second week of senior high school. Okay, so since then, I've had a job, I've fended for myself, got through school enough that I could convince you I did, which is good enough. But moving from place to place, I went and found myself an apartment in Tokyo, okay? And it's not idyllic when this shit happens, okay? I'll give you an example. When I moved to Tokyo, kind of a shishi kind of a place like, kind of upper west side, New York City, Brentwood, whatever. And I love the culture, that was the overall vision. Moved into the apartment. This is a place that costs $2,500 a week. And the folks who are there are, they're bank folks, and here's the guys in charge of Daimler-Benz for all of Eastern, whatever. And I had a translator who's so skinny, this poor little gal. She's not poor little gal, but she's so skinny, you got to get her custom-made black pants. They don't make them that skinny for women. It's just a shape. I thought it was kind of sexy. It's like fashion model, right? But this is a very diminutive little gal, like so. And she takes, without my knowing, she takes about 40 pounds, I mean waist-high, big duffel bag of laundry. I'd flown, I've been there, I'm out in the kayaks, I'm really piling up the laundry, and a lot of it's wet because, we're out in the river system and kayaking, in Yokohama and whatnot. She's trying to be cool. She drags 40 pounds of laundry. I think, 8 floors. She goes down the back stairs so she doesn't embarrass and doesn't want anybody knows it's my laundry because my apartment number is on there. She's very dignified, whatever. Drags that fucking thing about 4 blocks down the street. Doesn't think, we'll just take care of it in the apartment building, and drags it all the way down to a laundry that is only Japanese spoken and everything. And the fella says to her, "I don't do gaijin underwear, take it out of here." I only find this out because I come back to the apartment and I see her. She's outside. She's got tears in her eyes. She's very upset, very undignified. And she says, I made her explain to me what's going on. Gaijin means foreigner or outsider. Means, they use for tourist or whatever. And what he meant was me. And this is anywhere. When people ask me about Japan, what do you think of Japan? And I go, you ever been to New York? You love it, you hate it, it's fucking dangerous, vicious, crazy, vulgar, sexy, obnoxious, brilliant, intensively fucking hot. And Japan's the same thing. But you don't hear these kinds of stories unless you dial into the Roth report. And she's got tears in her eyes because essentially the fella told her in very unflinching Japanese, I don't do white boy underwear, and sent this little girl dragging half her fucking body weight in laundry up the street and back up the fucking stairs inside the apartment building. I got the laugh to win smile, and she looks at me and she says, why are you smiling? I says, well, if this was New York, we'd be getting free dry cleaning for the rest of your fucking life. Tom and I would take your picture and about 8 times as much laundry. We collect it from every apartment on this fucking floor. Tom, is this true? Okay. And we tell people we're going to do your laundry. It's part of a college prank. Give us as much fucking laundry as you can. Tom can carry it. You can't see Tom because he moonlights as a sniper. You'll never see Tom. He'll always see you. And we'll collect more fucking laundry than 7 times our fucking body weight. And it'll take 6 of us. We'll pay the guys that drag that bitch halfway down the street. It's going to cause a traffic jam, but by the time the law gets through that fucking traffic jam, we're going to be inside that store with her picture. And we're going to say, memorize this. But we'll say it in Japanese. Anytime you see that face, and memorize Tom's and mine, we like a little more starch in the collar. Call the Uber. Now. she started laughing. And she says, when do we go to New York? Whoa, whoa. Let me see your passport. Orale. Nobody's perfect, S.E.